All life requires a rhythm of rest. So writes author and spiritual teacher Wayne Muller. There's a rhythm in our waking activity and in the body's need for sleep. There's a rhythm in the way day dissolves into night, and then night into morning. There's a rhythm as the active growth of spring and summer is quieted by the necessary dormancy of fall and winter. There is a tidal rhythm, a deep, eternal conversation between the land and the great sea. In our own bodies, the heart perceptively rests after each life-giving beat. The lungs rest between the exhale and the inhale. We have lost this essential rhythm. Our culture invariably supposes that action and accomplishment are better than rest, that to do something, anything, is better than doing nothing. Because of our desire to meet these ever-growing expectations, we do not rest. Because we do not rest, we lose our way. I read recently a story written by Donna Stone, ironically in the magazine called Running Woman. She writes, "Several years ago, I was on an active vacation, hiking, mountain biking, etc., etc. One activity involved climbing a large rock wall with a group of 6 people. We each had an opportunity to climb the wall. My goal was simple, to climb the wall faster than everybody else, including my husband. It seemed to take forever for everyone to get to the top and then come back down. When it was my turn, I flew up the wall and touched the bell on top, definitely faster than everybody else, including my husband. The trainer called up to me. 'That was pretty fast.' 'Yeah, I guess it was,' I replied, beaming inside that I had achieved my goal. 'Well, before you come down,' the trainer said, 'why don't you take a few minutes and enjoy the view?' His comment totally threw me. I turned my eyes from the trainer on the ground and gazed out into a gorgeous desert valley with the sun above a huge mountain peak. It was stunning. Now I knew why everybody else had gone so slow. But slowing down is more than simply seeing the view. According to Trappist monk Thomas Merton, the real danger of our fast pace is not in missing moments of life. The real danger is that our resistance to rest is an actual act of violence. Thomas Merton explains, "There is a pervasive form of contemporary violence, and that is activity and overwork. The rush and pressure of modern life are a form, perhaps the most common form, of its innate violence. To allow oneself to be carried away by a multitude of conflicting concerns, to surrender to too many demands, to commit oneself to too many projects, to want to help everyone in everything, is to succumb to violence. The frenzy of our activism destroys our own inner capacity for peace. It destroys the fruitfulness of our own work because it kills the root of inner wisdom, which makes work fruitful." This idea of overscheduling and overwork as a form of spiritual violence pulls me up short. It takes my breath away. By nature, I'm a fast mover. I'm an overworker. I really struggle to find balance. I've heard the message, slow down, you move too fast, simplify, simplify, simplify. But I've let that slide with, I know, but that's just who I am. That's just how life is nowadays. But Thomas Merton is pointedly telling us it's not how life should be. It's not an accident that the Chinese word for busy is composed of two characters, heart and killing. The admonition against violence is part of most spiritual traditions. Socrates' definition of a good person was one who has done no harm. The Hindu and the Buddhist traditions teach ahimsa, do no harm. Jesus preached it and lived it, do no harm. Gandhi proclaimed it, do no harm. Martin Luther King Jr. studied Gandhi, do no harm. Throughout history, our Unitarian Universalist faith has been deeply rooted in the idea of nonviolence, do no harm. And yet, on a subtle but certain level, our calendars and commitments frequently violate this core religious value. Endlessly shuttling kids to sports practice, racing to fit in the shopping, constantly checking for that latest email. We are doing harm. We are doing harm to ourselves, to our relationships, to our spirit, to our psyche, to our ability to find true meaning in life. Wayne Muller, in his book, Sabbath, Restoring the Sacred Rhythm of Rest, writes, in the trance of overwork, we take everything for granted. We consume things, people, and information. We do not have time to savor this life, nor care deeply and gently for ourselves, our loved ones, or our world. Rather, with increasingly dizzying haste, we use them all up and then throw them away. How have we allowed this to happen? How did we get so terribly lost? Wayne Muller continues. I suggest that this has happened because we have forgotten Sabbath. If busyness can become a kind of violence, we do not have to stretch our perception very far to see that Sabbath time, effortless, nourishing rest, can invite a healing of this violence. When we consecrate a time to listen to the still small voices, we remember the root of inner wisdom. We remember from where we are most deeply nourished and see more clearly the shape and texture of the people and the things before us. Sabbath can be a far-reaching, revolutionary tool for cultivating those precious human qualities that grow only in time, that grow only with time. In her 2003 New York Times feature on the Sabbath, Judith Shulevitz wrote, "The Sabbath provides two essential things, time to contemplate and distance from everyday demands. The Sabbath is to the weak what the line break is to poetic language. It is the silence that forces you to return to what came before to find its meaning. What we create becomes meaningful to us only once we stop creating it and start to think about why we did so." Poet Barbara Cooker puts it another way. Sometimes we take off our watches. Sometimes we lie in the hammock, caught between the mesh of rope and the net of stars, suspended, tangled up in love. So how do we bring back the practice of Sabbath to our lives? The rush to secularize everything has caused us to toss away some of the humanity that religion preserved. But asking if we want to bring back some kind of personal Sabbath is a good first step. Do we want to figure out how to take time and relax and renew, to make time to reconnect to loved ones and friends and nature, to make time for visits from God and the holy? How could we, as individuals, as families, as a church community, as a Unitarian Universalist people of faith, regularly take time to do nothing and thereby do something essential? These are important questions. Important enough that this morning, all the churches in town are asking the same thing. Whether Catholic, Baptist, Episcopalian, Congregational, Church of the Nazarene, or Unitarian Universalist, all members of the Reading Clergy Association agreed to take time this morning to ask these questions, to explore the possibility of reclaiming some kind of Sabbath in our lives. We all want to give each other permission to unplug and unwind, to say no to doing more, to stop spiritual violence, to rest. How do we do that? I'm not exactly sure. I know that I want to look at my calendar and see what I can change in myself. I'm not sure how, but I want to give myself permission and encouragement to try. We could help each other. We could all start small and take a step. Now, if the idea of 24 hours of rest is unfathomable to us, what about maybe blocking out a couple of hours each weekend? Turning off the iPhone, the computer, the internet, the TV. What about walking in the woods, preparing and eating a slow-cooked meal, such as Maria reminded us about, playing board games with friends, watching the leaves fall, taking a nap, playing with the kids or a cat, reading a good book and then talking to somebody about it, calling somebody you haven't talked to in a while just to say hi. What could we do? I've heard that one Unitarian Universalist church decided not to hold any meetings after church on Sunday, to only share fellowship and conversation and food and do fun things together. I heard of another Unitarian Universalist church that decided that no church business would be discussed at coffee hour, just human, heart-centered connection and conversation. What would it mean if we decided to do something like that? What would it mean if we decided not to be busy or rush on a Sunday? No sports practices, no home repairs, just coming to church, relaxing, renewing, and carrying that energy into the rest of our day. You know, that would be kind of radical. That would be kind of countercultural. That would be kind of revolutionary. Radical, countercultural, revolutionary. Isn't that what Unitarian Universalism is all about? Maybe so. Blessed be. Amen.